some a little exercise.
Good morning,
morning,
good morning,
champions.
good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning,
Coach. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Is Alex on?
Yes.
Okay, fine, good. You can start recording.
It's on, Coach.
Oh, okay, thank you. Good morning, champions, as you say. Good morning, Vietnam.
Good morning.
It's indeed a pleasure to be back with the family. We meet every morning from Monday through Friday to discuss ideas that we believe will be of benefit to our individual lives and our business. I'd like to, before we bring on our guests, I want to reiterate or stress consistency of thought, but more than that, taking action. The things we talk about in the morning, we need to take action on it, big time. For example, yesterday, I'd hate to ask how many people have actually gone to their phone book and downloaded their phone book on paper. For example, yesterday we had on the line, which is a light day, we had 23 people on. But if everybody had taken action, that would be 23 times a minimum of 150, because everybody has a minimum of 150 names in their book. I went and got the printer to unload. I got 291 pages. And I've just been having fun with the business, actually. I've taken 150 of those names and I've been just working them. In fact, I spoke to Alex, and she called me back. Alex, why don't you just share what you did yesterday after we spoke?
Okay, I got so excited with what Coach was telling me. I'm like, okay, I got it. So we hung up. Within 2 minutes, I called back. I said, okay, Coach, I got my first appointment tomorrow, 11 o'clock. I'm doing what you're saying to do. So I am excited. I started doing the cards, putting stuff on it. My plans are to go and put them out today. And I was calling people yesterday, so I got it.
Trevor, what's going on with you?
I got it too, Coach. I haven't done it yet, but I got it. You came through loud and clear yesterday when we spoke.
Okay. All right. Well, yesterday, Miss Carol did an outstanding job. Miss McCarthy comes to us well talked about, but she made inroads. I spoke with 5 people after the call, and Albert was one, and Albert is a senior. We're in the same age bracket, but Albert was so moved by what Carol did. He just didn't express it. But, Carol, we are all ready for part 2, young lady. So I give you Miss Carol McCarthy.
Okay, let me mute everybody out first, Carol. Then you can star 6 back in. Carol, star 6, please.
Okay. I
Gotcha.
wanted to let you know that there's a little construction going on here. So if you at my house, so if you hear some banging in the background, I do apologize for that. And I'm not sure if we have people on the line who were not here yesterday, but I wanted to start out with an exercise. Excuse me. Yesterday, for those of you who weren't here, we kind of like identified something that might be out of our view, something that's possible that maybe you didn't realize is possible, and something that affects you and affects the people around you, which is your way of being. And part of that is your energetic field. So we attract people who are in line with the energy that we put out. And I wanted to apply that to your why. Now, you may not have developed your why perfectly yet. That's actually not the point. But I think I want you to go with me on this next exercise. And I want you to think about your why, the way you've designed it now, why you're in Care Beyond, what it is that you want to be able to give to people. As I said yesterday, my why is to empower people to live a life that they love. And so think about that. And I want you to think about the feelings that it gives you. Maybe you'll close your eyes and think about the feeling that your why gives you. And I want you to identify the place in your body where you feel that feeling the most. Maybe it's in your chest. Maybe it's in the middle of your forehead. Maybe it's in your face when you're smiling. Where do you feel that feeling that is given to you by your why, that energetic feeling when you think about it? And the point of doing that is when we do our business, we'll come across naysayers. We'll come across people who, instead of feeling with their heart, they're going to ask us questions, and they're really mindful people who are very analytical. And it's going to be important for us to be able to access our why energetically. And when I was taught this exercise, I find it's extremely valuable. You can sit in a parking lot before you go to a meeting, close your eyes, think about your why, identify where it shows up in your body, and really get in touch with it. And even when you're talking to someone, you may blink or look down for a couple of seconds, access your why, and whatever they are projecting won't affect you. So that's the end of that exercise, and we can talk about it in a little bit. But I wanted to reference the book Start With Why and say that our limbic brain controls our decisions. It's responsible for our emotions, our memories, and this is really important, our arousal, or what stimulates us. And what's really cool is that the limbic system is one of the major systems that the Care Beyond products work on. That's what CBD works on. So we're now talking about using the limbic brain to run our business, and it's totally aligned with the major product in our company right now. The limbic brain drives our behavior in spite of the facts. It controls our gut decisions. It's what yesterday I talked about, how the reason I got into this company largely was because of the way I know Kim Law to be. It was a gut decision for me. I trust her. we're energetically very similar. The limbic brain drives our hopes and dreams that are not based on logic. When people make decisions based on rationality, they have a tendency to overthink, ask useless questions, wonder why things work. They look for statistics. But when people make decisions based on their limbic brain, they are trusting their guts. A number of years ago, I used to work on a farm. We had 110 acres. The woman who ran the farm, I'm a professional horseback rider and trainer, teacher, and the woman who owned and ran the farm left school in 9th grade to sell horses. By the time I worked with her, I was in my 50s and she was in her 30s. And we had on that 110 acres about 135 horses. We had about 35 horses that were for sale at any given time. I rode about 14 horses a day. And we sold, on average, 12 horses a week, which is crazy. The largest horse dealer in the country would provide us with horses every week. He bought about 40 horses a week. Most of them came from a killer lot, actually. And then I would get on these crazy horses and repurpose them, and we would sell them. And she also bred horses. And the way she sold, I would sell by calling people and telling about the horses we had for sale. She would say, don't do that. She would put people in her golf cart, and she would drive around the farm and just talk to people, chat with them, tell them about all the different horses, show them the horses. She's like, people don't really know what they want. And even if they think they know what they want, they're going to fall in love with something. Just drive around in a golf cart with them and show them the horses and let them decide. So she was really, and we sold 12 horses a week, which is amazing. And she was really dealing with and relating to people's limbic brain, even though she didn't necessarily know why it was working from a scientific point of view. So it's important to start with why, because your why is what is going to speak to people's limbic brains. Great leaders are good at seeing what most people cannot see, that thing in their limbic brain. They give us things that we would never thought of asking for before. It's their underlying belief in something bigger and better that drives their why. In the book, there's a quote. Henry Ford said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said they wanted a faster horse. I thought that was really cool. They didn't know they wanted a car. They didn't know anything about cars. They would have wanted a faster horse. But he had that vision, and he spoke to their limbic brain. He spoke to their emotions, and they trusted him and tried cars. John F. Kennedy was brave enough to say, ask not what you can do, what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's almost like an insane thing for a president to ask. But it built trust, and it spoke to people's why. He was clear about his why. So I want to play a couple of minutes from the book and then go back and relate to this. And hopefully in the future we'll do some more of these sessions because this book is really quite powerful. Hold on just a minute and let me get my Audible going. And I'm just going to play a little teeny bit from this book for you guys. Oh, wow. It's not going to play while I'm on this call. So what that part of the book is about is a guy who he's saying that doing business is a lot like going on a date. You have a guy who goes on a date and he goes, I'm really cool. I make a lot of money. I really buy nice clothes. I work out. These are the things that I'm interested in. I'm interested in boating, tennis, whatever. And he's really talking about the things that he's doing in life. That would be very different from saying, I love life. You know, I'm so passionate about life. I'm really interested in a lot of different things. And because I'm interested in a lot of things, you know, people have a tendency to want to do, and I'm really good at listening to people. I can't wait to get up every morning. And because I am that way, people really have a good time being with me. And I'm really interested in that point of view with you and sharing that part of my life with you. That would be really different. And it really relates to the way that some companies who maybe weren't even doing very well or have exceeded the norm do business. Apple, for instance, their culture is everything we do, we believe. We challenge the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our computers beautiful. They're user-friendly. Would you like to try one? They're really appealing to a culture that they are establishing. They're not saying, we make great computers, we have such and such RAM, they're super fast, people love to use them in their business. No, they're talking about the culture and how you can be different and how they're cool. They are really speaking to people's hearts, to their guts. And that's why they're the biggest company in the world. Some other companies that have tried to build that business model but continued to only talk about the qualities of their computers, they lasted for like 5 years and then they crashed because they did not create a cultish, loyal following. And I'm not saying we're trying to create a cult, but we are speaking to people's energetic beings, to their limbic brain, which is going to make a gut decision. And that is that's an extension of why you need to have your why really solidly for yourself, get it in your body, be able to access it before you go into meetings, and then go back and do what Coach says and download your contacts and go out and have fun talking to those people because you're filled with integrity. You're expressing what it is that you believe in your heart and in your gut, and they will get it, and they will be attracted to it and be excited. So that's the end of the session for today. If anybody has any, I would like to hear from people about what they felt, doing the exercise in the beginning, and how they see it can help them in their business. So I guess we need to open the line so that people can share.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, this is Albert from Brooklyn. Just want to ask a question, because I get a sense that there can also be a collective why.
Oh my God, there is. They have done. There is let me just speak to that for a second, in a couple of different ways. Each of us, well, obviously, Care Beyond is working on expressing their why to the public. That's why we're having this contest to see who would you trust and who would you choose. But each of us is going to run our own business, right? We're going to have our own organization, and we're responsible for the culture of that organization, and it will have a collective why. There was an experiment, I think it was in the 70s, where a bunch of yogis went to, they meditated outside of cities with very bad crime rates. And while the yogis were meditating, which was about 10 or 11 days, the crime rate in those cities went down 25%. I know that sounds weird, but there is a collective why. It's there in the universe, and it's up to us to express it to our people and build the culture of our own organizations so that it does live forever while we're in the business, and all of our little people are in the business.
Uh-huh.
When you're in a bad mood, right, the people around you get affected by that because you're not in integrity with your why, or you've gotten a little off course. And you can just see in that example how it affects the people around you. So yes, there is a collective why, for sure.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hi, Carol. This is Peter Liu from Brooklyn.
Hi.
Thank you very much for yesterday and today's presentation. And I totally get what you're saying. I've been practicing energetic healing practices, Tai Chi. So, when we were doing the hand exercise, that's actually part of a Qigong practice that I do, in which you pretty much do that. You take a certain posture and create this energetic ball between your hands. So that is 100% familiar to me. But also talking about the collective why and what you were talking about with the energetic field, which we are all connected to. It also goes to an earlier topic we were talking about, which is the book The Tipping Point. When you were just talking about the yogis meditating, I'm familiar with that also, and how that we connect together through some people call it the thought envelope or the quantum energy field. But the tipping point also ties into that as well, because at some point, and I know in the yogi experiment that I think the number was something like 7,000, where you have thought, intention, 7,000 becomes the tipping point. And so that happens too, I think, in businesses, and, experiments have shown that when a thought comes through one person, somebody else in the world is connecting to that same thought, even though they're not consciously aware of it. So when you have, as we were talking about, with a collective why, right now the group is fairly small, relatively speaking, but at some point it does become a tipping point, and we're also talking about the CBD industry as a whole, right? So the consciousness of CBD is, the tide is rising, all the boats are floating up, and so what we do, I think, with Care Beyond, and what we're doing with calls like this, and also having access to Rajiv sharing with us, his vision and the contest, it's kind of creating this culture in which the things will, as we're sharing with people, like it's coming through us, not only our individual whys, but the why of the company and the culture of the company. So I think it's really a matter of us tying into, our own personal, why, our own values, and then in expressing that as we, we talk to people and as we build our teams. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and thank you very much, Carol. I love what you're sharing with us in these past 2 days, and look forward to more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Albert. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, is this Albert? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. I just wanted to thank you, Carol, for what you did yesterday and this morning. Having done very well past studies of this, laid out for us what I say is the science of living well and build true citizens. So we have what we need. We just have to get this and execute, put it into practice. Most people say that knowledge is power, but
Yes.
you again. And
You're welcome.
I'll be listening.
Sure. Thank you. I agree. It's now the rubber hits the road. That's why I think that practicing accessing that before we go into a meeting will be very powerful, because that's a stage in the rubber hitting the road, so that we, as Peter said, align with the company vision and also with our own every time we go into a meeting.
There's so much going on to pull you out of your bed that you have to do it not only every day, but a few times during the day. So we have a work cut out for us. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Carol.
Yes.
Alice. I think it's also important to do that exercise just before you make a phone call as well, because that energy, that excitement will be in your voice. Like I said, after speaking to Coach yesterday, and I called this girl, and I just knew I was going to make that appointment. So, you get that confidence. It gives you confidence to know that, okay, this is what I want, and it's going to happen. So, that energy that it gives you. So thank you again for today.
Yeah, you're welcome. And, this is just my opinion, but you have a golden voice. I might have a voice of knowledge that people will trust, but you have a voice of enthusiasm. When you were talking in the beginning, that voice you have of enthusiasm is incredible. And you get yourself on the phone, your business is gonna blow up, just because you don't even have to know what you're talking about. You have the voice.
Praise God. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's my opinion, just listening to you on the phone.
It's funny you say that, because I'm also the NAACP secretary, and I make phone calls every month to remind people to come to the meeting. And I hear all the time, "Oh, Alice, thanks for calling me. It's so nice to hear that, to hear your voice." And I missed it. Like, I forgot to do it for February's meeting, and I was doing it the night before, and they're like, "Okay, I missed you calling me. Thank you for calling me. I knew it, but I just wanted to hear your voice." So thank you. That's confirmation to what people already say. So I thank you.
You got it. It's golden.
Alice, that's what people tell me when they call to listen to my answering machine. Sis, why did you answer? I just called to listen to your answering machine.
I think I'll start doing that too then.
God be the glory for the great things that He has
Praise
done.
God.
The words are, if you expect it, you shall receive it. This morning we were talking about signal loss. And the psalmist David says in Psalm 65, in the very beginning, "To you belongs silence, the submissive wonder of reverence." Just those words show you your direction for the day. I've always believed when I walk in, I know what I'm going for. The fact that I'm an introvert, I have to know what I'm going for, because I'm scared to the living daylights to be there long. I just need to leave. And I know those that know me say, "Chris, that's not true," but you just don't know. I have been blessed to surround myself with people that are dynamic, like Carol, like yesterday, I think an example of what Carol just said and of what we've been talking about was exemplified because we were in a meeting and Kim left the meeting to go to another meeting. And she says, you know, I need some people because I'm going to go sign these people up. I said, oh, you know them? She said, no. I said, they know about Kim. You know? She said, no. I said, wait a minute. They don't know about it. They don't know you're coming? No. She said, but they're going to sign up. And about 3 hours later, we were scheduling the president to be at a meeting on Monday because I was busy. And they were arranging to have an interpreter there and all kinds of stuff because she left Orlando to go to a group of people 2 hours away that she never met, that didn't know she was coming, but she certainly left it what she went for. And that's the whole thing, you know. You get what you expect. What's your why? Okay? You have none, you get none. You know, I've said this time and time again. The book says write the vision clearly in tablets, so all that see it may run at it. Well, the tablet could be a yellow pad. The tablet could be a white piece of paper. The tablet could be whatever. But if you don't write the vision, you have none. If you don't know what you're going for, why waste your time? You know, go do something else. Okay? But if you're going for something, you got to know what it is. You got to have it in front of you. It's got to be deadly focused. You know, where do you plan to be on Friday? Where do you plan to be at the end of the month? Most people are just walking around in a vacuum of emptiness and they expect to get something. And they get exactly what they're walking around in. Emptiness, nothing. If you have no focus, I wasn't going there this morning. I'm going to step out. Woo! Sorry. One, two,
so this is Kim. I want to tell you that the call has been so powerful today. I've gleaned so much information from you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, we have opportunities to move forward in our business in so many different ways. Just being on the calls every single morning and in the evening time, we can always glean a gem. You know, even though we know the information on the evening calls, somebody's going to say something, or we're going to hear it in a new way. It's like reading the scriptures. You can read the scriptures over and over and over, but it speaks to you differently every time you read it. And that's the way the calls and the trainings are. They speak to us differently, and they address something that we're honing in on in that moment. So, you know, I would suggest that if we're going to build and grow our business, yesterday the meeting he was talking about happened to be a house full of deaf people, except one hearing person that was their roommate. And he happened to, you know, listen in on the conversation and stuff, and he kept walking in and out conveniently through the kitchen to pay attention to what I was discussing, which was really funny for somebody who had no interest and knew everything about it. All of a sudden, you know, he had an interest and kind of kept piping in. So by the time we left, the gentleman that was there in the beginning, he was like, well, let me read over it. I'm going to check it out. We put a patch on his wife, and we asked her what her pain level was, and she said about a 5, but it hurts all the way up and down my back terribly bad, but it's a 5. And he said she wakes up with an angry face every day. And he said it was probably about 30 minutes into it, and I was talking to him about signing up. He says, no, I want to wait. She says, no, you're not. I want you to buy it now. I don't hurt. So The wife never said anything about how quickly it worked for her, but 30 minutes into it, when he said he was going to wait to buy the product, she put him in his place and said, no, you're not. You're getting it now. So I sold him a 24-pack immediately on site. He signed up as an associate. He's planning on having 10, 15 or more. I told him, I said, look, the more people you have, the more income you're going to make, and the stronger you're going to be able to create residual income for the deaf community. That's his why. His why is about helping people who have special needs, especially the deaf community.
and that he's hard of hearing. He's not completely deaf like everybody else that was there. He says, I'm going to hire an interpreter and bring him in. He's a friend of mine, but I'll pay for him to come in and interpret so that I don't miss any of the important information and it's interpreted accurately for everybody. So I thought that was really powerful. Somebody who doesn't really know anything much about the product just saw what it did for his wife and was willing to pay for an interpreter to come in to speak to all of his deaf friends. So you never know what opportunities are going to arise. We just have to know that what we have works. And by having that testimony and expressing that with somebody, you know, I didn't know how it was going to lay out. I just knew I had something he needed. Didn't know which product it was, just knew that I had something that was going to help him. And it worked. Back to you.
That's amazing.
Okay, Carol, that was an excellent presentation and valid and important information that you provided for us today and yesterday. I thank you so much. Coach, Coach, anything you want to say, Coach, before we sign off? Star 6. I don't know if we've lost Coach, but it's 9:39. Champions, we're going to sign off right about now. All of you go. Okay, champion, we're going to start the sign off. Everyone go out there today and have a successful day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, man. Okay, I've been muted. I muted myself. 1 minute before we go, I want everybody to get involved with the contest. Please get involved with the company's contest. And Carol, I've been speaking to you the whole time, not realizing that I muted myself.
Well, we're
Albert,
speaking up.
Albert, I'm coming to you, bring you your stuff, and Trevor, as always, great job, and Pete, and definitely, Alice. I kept talking, and anyway, it was all good. So, Trevor, you can start the sign-up process. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you also. Okay, champions, let's go today and make it an amazing day. Trevor Brickman, I'm out.
Thank you.
I'll see you shortly, Coach.
Thanks, Al.
Hey, Spike, you know that Carol is in your area?
Yes, Florida.
No, she's out where you are.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Where are you from?
Spike is in your area.
I live in Claremont. It's northwest of Orlando.
Oh, I'm in Groveland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in the same area. Okay, cool.
Okay, we gonna have to hook up. I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here and head back to New York anyway at the end of the month. But we're gonna try to hook up before I leave.
Okay, cool. Yeah. You can I'll give you my telephone number, okay?
Okay.
It's 407.
I'll send it to her.
What's that?
I'll do that. I'll facilitate that.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Good.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
I haven't heard from you.
Hey, listen, don't forget we have the mission and
No. Oh wow. Right now. Okay. Let me finish finding out. I gotta send Carol stuff, and go have a great day. And I'll be with you in 3 minutes, Chris.